So, what age did you start making beats and rapping?
Making beats came first. It wasn't long after I got that Wu-Tang album. That's 97, 98. I'm a teenager. I'm 16. So I remember there was a music store that I bought a Boss Dr. Rhythm DR. I think it was a DR 550 drum machine.
How much was that?
Yeah, I got the DR 550 first and then the Dr. Groove 202. And so with those two little cheap drum machines and a little Yamaha keyboard and, with the record collection I had started to build, I started collecting vinyl, again, as a teenager, just out of love of music. And then once my ear gets hip to the notion that, I need to be on the hunt for records to sample, then I really started buying records. As a teenager, I started making beats. And by the time I had done that for a little while, and again, going back to where I was at geographically, I just didn't know other kids that rapped and made beats and DJ'd and, things of that nature. So when I was 18, I moved to Johnson City, Tennessee, and got my own place. And it was around that time that I did start meeting other people who rhymed. And so after a certain amount of time, like of producing tracks and, with me just being a person who my brain goes 100 miles an hour and I have a lot to say and I'm very opinionated about a lot of things. And I have weird inside jokes that I only care about them being funny to me. It becomes inevitable. You start kicking bad freestyles over your beats. And then, eventually start taking, writing rhymes seriously. And I will say, I think I got nice at the beats quicker than I got nice on the mic. Finding my voice as an MC was a little bit longer journey. I think the beat thing came together quicker because I did have that musical foundation of just a lifetime of kind of knowing because at the end of the day, it's all music. Music theory applies to hip hop the same way that it applies to jazz or rock music or anything else. You have song structure, you have key, you have tonality, you have things like that. So yeah, it was beats first, but it didn't take long before I eventually started rhyming.
When did you learn to DJ?
I don't know that I ever have learned to DJ. No, I always say how they have studio gangsters. I'm a studio DJ.
Gotcha.
I do a lot of my own scratch hooks and stuff. And, when I can punch in, if I made a mistake or, something like that, I can sound pretty nice. If I got to replicate that same thing live, I'm not as good. But early on, I got turntables. I bought this crappy. It was a set of Newmark. Guitar Center had this box. It was the Funkmaster Flex TT 205s or something like that. But for $199, which was all I could afford at the time, you got two belt drive Newmark turntables and a Newmark mixer, which that mixer actually still works. I gave it to Jay Zone recently because his mixer kicked the bucket. But anyway, I bought this really cheap set of belt drive turntables. And at that time, I didn't know that cutting and scratching on a direct drive turntable, like a Technics 1200 or, any turntable where the platter is mounted directly on the motor, it's 10 times easier to cut on one of those than on a belt drive turntable. But I didn't know this at the time. I thought I was just really whack at DJing. So anyway, that came early, but I never necessarily aspired to get great at DJing. It was just a skill that I wanted to have in the event of I wanted to be able to do scratch hooks on my own songs. Because again, now it's different now. Like I know a lot of dope DJs, and it's a little more common today. If I need cuts on a song, I'll just reach out to one of my DJ homies and get them to scratch on it. But I wanted to be able to DJ to be able to do my own scratch hooks, and also from a show standpoint, because, you know, when you're doing DIY touring, you know, which is very not glamorous a lot of times, like, you know, people may be wearing multiple hats and juggling different jobs. One person on the tour may also be working the merch table, and then one person may have to DJ for this other act. And, you know, I wanted, from a show capacity, I wanted to be able to at least competently, like if I had to DJ for somebody, I could do it.
Right.
But I just, I don't think it was where my strengths lied. It was just a skill I wanted to have in the toolbox.